Good afternoon. Welcome back to Wager Talk TV. Happy Monday to all of you out there. Joining us here on First Pitch, a 7-day-a-week show. My name is Andrew McGinnis, joined by Dave Koken, Hunter Engelhardt, and Brian Leonard. Dave, we'll start with you. How was your weekend?
Saturday was real good because I hit a 5% play in college, another easy winner with Miami, and also had Miami in baseball. Yesterday I had a plus 160 dog on the who was it yesterday? I'm blanking out. I forget who I played yesterday, but it won. And then I lost 2 NFL games, which were just horrible selections. So a small loss yesterday, big win on Saturday, pretty good.
What about yourself, Hunter? How are things?
I had a rough day Friday, MLB wise, but NFL yesterday went pretty good, 2-1. So now I'm 6-3 on the season, 2-0 on my 4%, and I got another 4% NFL play up for Sunday Night Football tonight. But I do have a 2-pack up for MLB slate tonight as well. So
I'm going to make a prediction that you'll hit the Sunday Night Football play that you just mentioned.
I love that prediction, especially out of Dave Koken. So
since it's already done.
Oh, true.
It's Monday. It's Monday, man.
It's guys, newborn. It's been a while. Here we are, Monday. It's Monday Night Football.
I'd like to take another shot at the Sunday afternoon schedule if I could.
Let's play all the favorites on the money line. I think.
Really. And the overs.
Yeah.
And I'll take the Cowboys in game as well. How you doing, Brian?
You had to mention that when I bet Atlanta plus 190 on the money line earlier in the week. I go, well, at least I got that one coming in. Hey, that's sports betting. We ended up going 3-3 over the weekend. Split a couple underdogs in baseball, so basically evened out with all the juice. I've got up $9 Monday, and up on the site right now, I've got my top baseball play for the day, as well as my top football play in this line. If it hasn't moved enough yet, I think it'll continue to move, so grab that as soon as you can.
I have a baseball play. That's my only play today for $9. Hunter's mentioned what he has. Andrew, how about you?
Yeah, for myself, I just have a 2-pack in baseball action right now. I believe it's since August 23rd, we're plus 60% return on investment on the MLB. So since August 23rd, so rolling pretty hot in MLB, and like you do, Dave, I've been kind of keeping those plays to just the all access guys. But over the next little while, I'm going to give anybody a chance at wagertalk.com that goes to the site to grab those as well. A point I want to mention, guys, of course, it is $9 Monday, both at Wager Talk and Sports Memo. But important to mention today, if you sign up for the first time for Wager Talk or Sports Memo, you're going to get automatically $25 credit towards your account as wager bucks. That's at both websites, at Sports Memo and Wager Talk. So $50 credit altogether in wager bucks. First time sign up, and there's no better day to be a first time sign up kind of guy today here on $9 Monday. Lots of action, and I believe a couple 5% plays as well across both websites. Guys, without further ado, let's get right into it. We're going to go around the horn and go after these games. Dave, I checked out the weekend show, looked great, and you guys had a rapid fire success. So let's do the exact same thing here. And Dave, I'll start with you. The Angels Rangers wrapping up their 4-game series. I'll tell you one quote that I had here was just, Bundy coming off of a rough start. Said, getting behind in counts, missing the plate. I got to be better. I've talked about how do we approach teams like these two teams, but when you look at quotes like that, at least he seems rather motivated.
Yeah, he wasn't happy about being yanked in the last game. He just got singled to death. And it wasn't like they were getting hard shots off him, but I think he had 2 walks and 4 hits, and that was the end of that. And he'd been pitching really well, so I think it was kind of an aberration. But the price is so high here. And bear in mind, these are Texas and the Angels wrapping up a series, and it's meaningless baseball. So if you're going to play this, you got to be looking for something along those lines, and maybe that motivation on the part of Bundy is a fit.
What about yourself, Hunter? Is there a play here for you?
Well, if you're going to do what Dave's talking about, it's going to cost you at minus 215 here. I think if you're going to play this game, I think you got to look at the totals, pick a total, and if you like Gibson to have another awesome game like he did against Houston, or if you're going to fade him. Personally, I'm staying away from this game. I'd like to back Gibson again, especially against this Angels team is pretty much playing for draft picks at this point. But I would say I lean towards the under if I had to pick a side.
What about yourself, Brian? Do you feel the exact same way? I mean, it's tough to lay this number. So is it more of a totals or a pass?
Yeah, maybe the Angels run total over. Take a look at Gibson. As Hunter mentioned, he had an 85 game score against Houston last time out. That was the same day, if I remember, that Fires was unhittable in Colorado. You're going to have days like that, but Gibson, his previous 5 starts before that, with an average league game score of 50, his numbers are 35, 37, 41, 45, 29. So that was an aberration last time out. He's a guy who has given up home runs in bunches in his career. Prefer Bundy, but I'm not laying this price. I think the Angels will get to Gibson. The Angels are much better against righties for the season. When you take a look at the fan graphs against righties, the Angels are 6th with a 117 on WRC plus. So maybe the Angels team total over. That'd be the only way I'd look at this one.
That would be the only way I would look at that one as well, but I have not made a play on it. I do like a side in this next one, Dave. We have the Phillies and Wheeler take on the Nationals and Sanchez. You've mentioned motivation. We've talked about 2 teams going in different directions. Well, I'm not going to sit here and boost the Phillies' tires, but I will say the Nationals aren't a team that I'm ready to rally around here, especially with Sanchez in the mound. I like the Phillies' first 5 here. What are you thinking, Dave?
Yeah, I'd lay a half run in the first 5.
Half run, that's what I meant. Yeah, half run.
I would go that way. The line is jumping on this for obvious reasons. It's a big game. All the big games are big this week for the Phillies, and they have to play them all on the road, by the way. And the Nationals just want to get this thing over with, and Wheeler owns a big edge over Sanchez. Kind of a no-brainer from that standpoint. So you have to find what the best available gamble is in the game, and I would say first 5 minus a half run.
Anything from you here, Hunter? Big game for your guys.
Yeah, I agree. I'm still on the JT Real Muto train where it's really hard to back them, but their backs are against the wall and they really need to have a closeout week here. If I had to lean, I would agree with Dave, but I'm actually on Wheeler strikeout prop here. I think it's at 5.5 with plus money. So
Perfect.
that's going to be the only thing I'm on today with that.
Awesome. You and mid-major Matt killing those prop bets. I mean, I dabble in it a little bit, but the consistency with that. Any more that you have, Hunter, over these games, feel free to bring them out. Brian, we've talked about this Phillies bullpen ad nauseum. Is it pretty point blank? If you like the Phillies, you're playing them first 5 here?
Yeah, but the Washington bullpen hasn't been that great this year either. I prefer the Phillies here. Washington's one of those teams, obviously, you win the World Series, and now you've got 20-32 records. You're not even going to make the playoffs. Veteran team, I'd be looking to fade Washington down the stretch. I know one of our colleagues, Marco D'Angelo, has been piping that up for a while now. And, Washington's lost 3 of the last 4. They did score 15 runs in their game that they won yesterday, but
Against a lefty.
yeah. So just keep that in mind. I don't want any part of Washington here, but I don't know if I can trust the Phillies. So I'll be sitting this one out.
By the way, a quick note. It just shows you how weird things can be sometimes. Going into yesterday, the Nationals had the same exact record through 50 games as they had last season when they won the World Series, 19-31. How weird is that?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess that just goes to show right now. I mean, it's there's no time to sit around in this series. We go from 162 to 60. Goes to show. I want to ask you this, Dave, real quick. We want to rapid fire go through these games, but since you bring that up, you've been watching baseball for how long? Do you take this championship?
3 years.
Do you take this championship any different than any other year in the World Series, or is it just, hey, fair game? They all play the same amount of games. Is there any asterisks from you?
No, I don't care about that stuff. I honestly don't. That's fan stuff. I'm a gambler, sports bettor, analyst. I'm not a fan, so I don't. If you want to put an asterisk on it, go ahead. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah, my 2 cents personally is just that, hey, they're all playing the same amount of games. They're all playing this, the same surroundings, so there's no issue there.
If you're gonna do that, you have to put an asterisk on everything. I mean, there's no home ice advantage in the NHL, so or the NBA. So it is what it is. That's just whoever wins. They're still the champions.
Yeah, I mean, the only argument I'd say there is that MLB changed their amount of games. NHL didn't really change their amount of games that much.
They did some.
For sure, but not like a whole.
And they put 8 more teams in the playoffs than they normally do.
Definitely.
Everything changed.
Yeah. Quick hello here to Steve, Chris Johnson as well, saying he likes the Phillies' first 5. The director, Jonathan, Austin Williams, Terry Edelman. So many of you guys joining us here in this chat box. We appreciate it. Make sure to post your picks. Let us know what you like, and any questions you might have, we'll be sure to answer them and post them onto the screen. Once again, guys, $9 Monday, both wagertalk.com and sportsmemo.com. And from what I've seen at both websites, I always stress this on $9 Mondays. You're not just buying picks for tonight. You're buying picks could be for next Saturday or for this coming Saturday. It could be for Sunday in the football. It could be for the Thursday night football game. So grab those plays at a great price, and I'm sure you won't regret it. White Sox and the Indians. Total's 8 here, Dave. Close to a pick'em game.
Yeah, this is a good game. Obviously, it means something to both teams. Dunning's been good for the White Sox. Savali, not quite as good recently for the Indians. The price on the game tells me Cleveland. And that's about all I can say on it. I don't really have a strong opinion on the game. I think it's a good matchup. But considering how popular the White Sox have been at the window, really, ever since maybe like the second week of this season, when I see a price like this, it tells me I know where the majority of the tickets are going to be. And this could easily be 120 or 125, and it's not. So I'll go with the odds makers indicator, if you will, and lean Indians.
Well, Hunter, you always mention that you don't play. I'll say lower tier teams towards the bottom of the standings. Well, this is a marquee matchup here. A pick 'em price with two good ball teams. I mean, we could make some arguments, but who's better here? I think we all know who we'd say. What are you thinking here? Is this one that you want to have in action?
Well, I don't have any action on this game personally, but I agree with Dave. I mean, this is going to be a fun game to watch. I think we're going to get a little peek at postseason here. I don't think these guys are going to be ready to start resting their lineups. This is a perfect game for these guys to practice game time situations in the postseason. And Dunning's been really, really good, as Dave mentioned, and Savali's kind of been up and down, but I mean, he's still got a 3.8 ERA, which isn't anything bad about it at all. So they have the home advantage. Cleveland does, like Dave said. Obviously, a lot of the tickets are going to come in on the White Sox, just because the standard person who looks at this game is going to say, okay, these pitchers are kind of around the same, and I would rather have this White Sox lineup than I would the Cleveland lineup. But personally, I'm off it. I think it's going to be a great game to watch. But if I had to lean, I'm always looking for value. So if I had to lean, I'm going to take probably White Sox first 5, just because I think Dunning's been better than Savali, on top of the White Sox lineup being more dangerous than Cleveland. So if I had to pick a bet to bet on it, it would be the first 5 -0.5 with White Sox.
Mr. Brian Leonard.
I'm going to plead the fifth on this one. This is my only play of the day in baseball, and you can get it for only $9 right now at Wager Talk. Yeah, I don't want to tip aside here, so I'll just sit this one out.
You know what, Brian? You are more than allowed to do that. You're on these shows every week, several days a week, giving countless free picks. Yeah, that is more than acceptable. Definitely okay to do that one. The Brewers and the Reds, however, though, if I can throw it back to you, Brian, with this matchup.
Yeah, this should be a really good matchup, Woodruff and Castillo. Neither team actually hits righties that great. May end up with the first 5 under look here. Castillo's last 7 games, a 60 game score, coming off of 2 tremendous starts, an 82 against St. Louis and an 80 against Pittsburgh. So Castillo's pitching his best ball of the season. Woodruff's one of those guys. He had an 87 against the Cubs 2 starts out or earlier, but he's been very inconsistent as of late. But I don't think there's going to be too many runs scored here. I'm leaning with the under in the first 5.
Mr.
I know who Brian's playing in the Indians White Sox game. I just read his email.
You want to sell it and we split the money?
No, I'll let you keep it. If it was a 5% for $40, then I'd take the deal. But for $9, nah, you can. When you said that, I had to check the email because Brian's probably set it up by now. So I checked my email, and
Brian, what do we have to do to get on this list? Come on, Brian. I said, what does the guy have to do to get on this email list anyway?
Well,
Yeah, I'm not on that chain either, man. I need diapers, Brian. I got a newborn. I need some diapers.
You need some diapers? Well, these are over $9 each.
I'm not making it up, by the way. When he said that, I said, "Well, I got to check my email and see who he's got," and I did.
Yeah, Dave and I exchange ideas a little bit, and it's mostly Dave does it a lot earlier than I do. He's an early bird. He stays up all night and works on it. I'm more of a day guy. As soon as I get up in the morning, that's when I put my plays up. So it's nice to look back after I put up a play, and Dave's got the same thing.
Yeah, everybody puts their picks out at different times. Everybody always gets at me. My girlfriend gets at me. I slept until 10:30 this morning, but I was up until about 4 a.m. doing work. So
sleep until 10:30. Ooh, that sounds good. I'm on the West Coast. I'm up at 7 o'clock on the West Coast. So
right, 7 o'clock on the West Coast is,
it's 11 o'clock where you are. Yeah,
yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
You're having your friggin' brunch.
Yeah,
I'm heading to McDonald's for a big breakfast, which isn't bad, by the way.
I've been laughing too much. Did you give your thoughts on that Reds game, Dave?
No, I don't. I'm not bucking Castillo right now. Man, he is really sharp at this point. He looks like the Castillo that we saw last year, and we didn't really see coming out of the break. But I mean, he is just razor sharp right now. No chance I go against him. And that was a really good win by the Reds yesterday, which I'm kind of irritated at myself because it was a game I liked, and I didn't bet it because the line went up. And I get a little bit stubborn sometimes in terms of value, and I cost myself a win there. I'm glad I won the game I had, which was the Rockies. But I would not be getting in Castillo's way right now. And Woodruff just hasn't been that consistent. Huge game, though, for both teams. They're both battling for the wild card, but I would have to lean to the Reds.
Hunter, are there any strikeout props that interest you in this game?
I looked at it. I don't like playing strikeout props that have big minus lines. I usually look for those strikeout props that are around even money plus money. But I'm going to pull a Brian Leonard here and say that this game is one of my picks today. So I'm going to plead the fifth on this one, and we'll move on.
And again, you're certainly more than allowed to do that. But I am going to throw it back to you with a new game here with the Cubs and the Pirates.
Throwing that to me?
Yep.
Okay. Lester, last time against the Pirates, got absolutely shelled. I think he gave up 5 earned runs or 6 earned runs or something like that in 4 innings. I don't think this is – I'm not on this game personally, but I do like Brubaker and the way he throws. He kind of pitches to outs here, and especially with the Cubs on the road. Pirates are at home. They're just playing for pride right now. So if you're looking for an underdog today, I do like the Pirates' first 5.
You know what's interesting about the Cubs – or at least Lester, he's got a weird home-road dichotomy this year. He's actually got a really good ERA on the road. I think it's 2.3. It's kind of phony when you look at the underlying metrics, but yeah, I mean, he's been better on the road than at home. And he is showing signs of maybe getting sharp at the right time. The Brubaker kid's actually looks like he might be a decent pitcher down the road for the Pirates. He's got a 7.08 ERA at home, though. His metrics are better than that, so he's had some bad luck, but it really comes down to that. I can justify the Pirates being this big of a dog just based on the fact that Lester is pitching way better on the road than he is at home, and it's just the opposite for Brubaker.
And Lester is Lester, and the Pirates are the Pirates.
Well, that too, yeah.
Is there a play for you here, Brian?
I'm leaning with the dog here. Lester, his last 4 starts against Pittsburgh, game scores 23, 52, 63, 32. So he hasn't been very good against Pittsburgh. And, a lot of people look at Pittsburgh, say they're 1-9 on the season versus lefties. They hit lefties a lot better than they do righties. They're at 103. Is the WRC plus, so they're 3% better than league average when they face lefties. A lot of people do the lazy handicapping of, hey, just 1-9. Well, it just happened to be that they scored runs in those games. They just the pitching wasn't very good. So I think there's a little bit of value here on Brubaker and the Pirates. Maybe the first 5, as was mentioned, but that'd be the only way I'd look right now. And the Cubs are one of those teams that you take a look at what they've done scoring wise. Last 4 games and 0-1-1-3. I'm not laying that number as a road favorite here on the Cubs.
Dave, do you see what you've done in this chat room right now? You mentioned the place McDonald's, and immediately half the attention removes from baseball, and they're talking about McDonald's in the chat box, talking about different burgers they like and different things like that.
I don't go there for burgers. I don't eat burgers for breakfast. Scrambled eggs and a sausage. You can't screw that up.
I can't argue with that. Dave, we have the Marlins here taking on the Braves. I like the over in this one. Would you agree?
I don't know what to do with this. Big games. Big game for the Marlins. They're 3 games over 500, but they've got to play all their remaining games on the road. So I'm just going to pass and see if they can handle the big pressure games that they're now involved in, because these are the biggest games the Marlins have played in a long time.
Hunter, obviously it depends on each team and who we're talking about experience-wise for the lineup as well. But Dave's mentioned it now a couple times on this show. Getting down to the remainder couple games here, how much are you taking into account home versus away? We talked about it early in the season, but now that it's later in the season, how much are you factoring that in?
I don't factor it in a ton, especially because there's no fans. I know they pump music and crowd noise and all that stuff, but I think a big aspect talking about home field advantage is the fans. They get loud in big situations, especially for the home team. So without there being fans, these guys are professionals. They spend half their life on the road playing away. So honestly, I don't think home field is a huge advantage for good teams. That there are teams that are just better at home, and that's just the way it is. So unless their numbers are really lean towards one side, I really don't factor it in too much.
And
especially
as far as
with
the
fans this year, anyways, only because there's no fans.
Right. And is there a play for you on the side or total?
No, nothing here in this game. I mean, these 2 pitchers, it's really hard to handicap these 2 pitchers. So, and these lineups have shown, obviously, Braves is a lot hotter than Miami lineup. I mean, but other than that, there's really nothing here that makes me believe that I can take a play based on these guys' numbers.
Hunter, they're saying that they want to hear you a little bit louder and to turn the mic up. I don't think that.
Do that?
I don't think you're that quiet. But anyway, I want to hear what you have to say. They want to hear what you have to say. I know you have some good information. Mr. Brian Leonard at B Leonard Sports. What's up with you in this game? Any thoughts?
Atlanta doesn't hit lefties nearly as good as they do righties. 98, I believe, is the WRC plus against lefties. Miami, talking about a home and away record. Miami Marlins, 17-10 on the road this year. Who the hell would have ever seen that? They've had a very successful season. I like a lot of their young players here. Maybe if Rodgers gets knocked out early and Atlanta could come in against a righty out of the Miami bullpen, that might give us some advantage in playing live betting on Atlanta. But at this point, this is a pass for me.
Yeah, before Dave says it, I don't know if you were thinking of it, Dave, but I'll just be the one to say it here. Chase, what's best MLB pick for today? Well, we're going through the entire card, but we all have our best bets available at the website that people pay for, and it's $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. So that's our little segue there, courtesy of Chase. Hopefully, you can find a best bet out of the games we're discussing right now and how we're breaking these down. The Rays and the Mets. DeGrom on the mound here, Dave, and if I do recall, wasn't the best outing last time around.
Well, he had to leave early last time out.
But it wasn't the best skillful outing either.
Well, something wasn't right with him. So, yeah.
Are we sure? Are we sure about that?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They're not going to pull.
You ever see an all-star?
It wasn't like he was getting killed.
Right? Yeah, I know. But you ever see a player go out there? Let's look at LeBron James. Has misses his first 6 field goals in the game. All of a sudden, he has a hurt, something, just because it looks bad. I know he was hurt, but let's be honest. Either way, he wasn't performing like his usual self.
Well, that's probably because he was hurt.
I sort of disagree, but anyway.
Best pitcher in baseball. The interesting thing is The old lack of run support actually is not the case this year. And DeGrom's games are going over like crazy right now. I think it's 7 of the last 8 have gone over. Mets are actually hitting for him. And there's a good chance they'll hit for him again tonight. Tampa is sending Fairbanks. He'll open. So I don't really know what they're going to do as far as the pitching is concerned. Be interesting to see if what the Rays do this week. I mean, they're in the playoffs. Do they rest guys? I'll leave it up to Kevin Cash. He's a terrific manager. The Mets need a miracle. Obviously, they have to basically win all their games and hope some other teams play badly, which isn't going to happen. But when DeGrom's out there, you get an honest effort. They'll have their best guys out there tonight. I'm not laying this kind of a price with DeGrom, but I would expect him to be very good tonight.
Hunter, once a show, I'll say use the word value. And we have the Mets right now, minus 190 favorites here. Is that, I mean, Dave said it, best pitcher, but is it the deserving price here?
Yeah, kind of like, I mean, I'm just going to ditto everything Dave said and say this total number looks pretty low in my opinion. So if anything, I like the over 7 in this game.
Brian?
The DeGrom price is too high. If there's any team that knows how to win low-scoring games, it's the Tampa Bay Rays. Just the last 3 games, they've scored a total of 6 runs, and they ended up winning 2 of those games. On the season in 1-run games, Tampa Bay 12-5. You know this is going to be a low-scoring game here with DeGrom. It might be worth a shot here, taking Tampa Bay plus the 1.5, or parlaying Tampa Bay to the under, something to that effect, because I just don't trust the Mets to lay in this big number as much as I like DeGrom. And as was mentioned, he's coming off an injury. When was the last time he threw 40 pitches? So he may be a little bit stronger here than he normally would be on day-to-day rest, because he's on a normal rotation spot here. So after throwing 100 pitches or more in his last 4 starts, he may come out a little strong here. I might be talking myself into a little bit on Tampa. Don't know how I'm going to go about it yet, but plus the 1.5 is probably a really nice bet.
Brian, do you know what the date was on that last DeGrom start, or like how long ago?
5 days ago from today.
5 days ago.
So 16th.
So that, to be very clear, that was my point. I get it. You could have an injury and something could cause you to leave the game. But how big of an injury? If you're playing 5 days later, couldn't have been a serious major injury. That's all I was saying, is that obviously he wasn't looking his best, but he also was injured. If we're seeing a guy 5 days later, obviously he didn't have a broken arm out there. That's all I was saying. I'm not arguing how skillful he is and how good he is.
Yeah, there's many times you'll watch a game and a guy will take a shot up the middle and hit him in the arm, and all of a sudden he's out of the game because his arm is aching, but he's able to come back, his normal turn next time out. So something had to have been wrong for him to leave that game, because management's not going to pull him after 40. He'll be back to his normal self. I agree with Dave.
That's him calling now. He wants to let us know he's okay.
That's nice of him.
I wish we had a guest like that every show. Dustin in here says DeGrom under 9.5 Ks question mark. My 2 cents. Look, I've had success going under with these. Hunter, what about yourself? I think that's a high strikeout prop even for a guy like DeGrom.
Yeah, but he is DeGrom, like you said. I mean, he is coming off an injury, but DeGrom's that guy who can come off an injury and just be right back to where he was. So I have no opinion on that. If you like it, then go ahead and take it. That's
the only thing
I have to say there.
I'm just going to jump in. Listen, it's the last week of the season, and the Mets aren't sending DeGrom out there if he's not healthy. And the game doesn't mean anything to the Mets, so they just shut him down if there was any worry about him not being healthy. So I mean, I think there's a good chance that he's. This could very well be, by the way, his last start of the season. There's no guarantee they'll send him out for the rest of the for a meaningless game over the weekend. So I think you might get a good DeGrom tonight.
I did want to touch on this. It's a good point, Dave. Those that are in fantasy baseball leagues this week, just because you've got a big name pitcher going does not mean he's actually going to go. A lot of these teams will be setting up for the playoffs. They may want to give their guy a nice little rest or pull him early. So something to keep an eye on, not only for fantasy, but keep an eye on for your betting, that if you've got a team that will be in the playoffs and you know they're going to be in the playoffs, I wouldn't expect their starters to go very long at this time of the season.
Brian, I want to send it to you with this next game, Wainwright and Hernandez on the mound, Cardinals and the Royals.
I've been a big proponent of Wainwright. 59 average game scores last 7, 2.87 ERA on the season. You get a consistently good effort out of Wainwright every time he takes the mound. He hasn't had that great of success against Kansas City, but in the last 2 years, he got a 49 and a 41 against him in game scores. So Kansas City's hit pretty well against him. Carlos Hernandez, not enough to trust him at this point. He has given up, interesting, 9 innings, he's given up 3 home runs, and yet his ERA is 3.86. So he's done a good job of only giving up the solo home runs. Likely to sit this one out, just not enough to interest me at this line.
Dave?
This is the game that's being bet like it's already been played. They're just bombing with St. Louis here. I'm not going to argue against it. I mean, the game means nothing to the Royals. And, they put up fights, but they're the second best team in the field here. And Wainwright's pitching like the old pro that he is. He's been money for the Cardinals.
Yeah, Hunter, I mean, Dave said it. The game means nothing. So how do you approach this one?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not on a side here, but I think if you are, I mean, obviously you have to be on the Cardinals. I mean, we saw at the end of last year, this team got hot right at the end of the season, and they took it all the way, almost to the World Series. So you really don't want to mess with a team, especially a Cardinals team who's hot when they've been hot before heading into the postseason. And I do know they just played the Pirates, but still, I mean, they're going from the Pirates to the Royals, which really isn't saying much. And Adam Wainwright has been just absolutely tearing it up recently. This is my second prop that I'm on with the over 5.5 strikeouts. I believe it's at even money or plus money or something like that, but over 5.5 for Wainwright today. And I think the Cardinals easily win this one, but it's just too expensive for me.
We'll go right back to you, Hunter, if I can here. McCullers and Gonzalez on the mound. Astros, Mariners, total move from 8.5 to 8, and minus 130, 135 favorites for the Astros.
Yeah, I know this Astros team has been cold recently and stuff like that, but I mean, with this lineup, they're going to have to get something going into this postseason if they want a chance. So I lean Astros today, especially. I think you can get them at plus money. I do like them first 5.
No, they're the favorite.
Oh, they're the favorite now.
Yeah, they've been the favorite.
135. I'm sorry, I was looking at the Rockies were the underdogs in the next game. I was looking a little ahead, but I do like the Astros in this situation. I think it's priced pretty affordable. I think it should be a lot more, especially against the Mariners, who really don't care at this point.
I think I'm going to disagree with that. I think the Mariners are playing with a lot of enthusiasm. Saw it this weekend in the series where they were the home team, even though they were on the road at San Diego. I mean, they got some young talent trying to play themselves onto next year's roster. They've got a superstar in the center fielder, Lewis. I mean, what a great young player he is. And Marco Gonzalez has been really good. He's been a solid pitcher for this team. The Astros have been just a bad road team. Lance McCullers has been a bad pitcher on the road. His ERA on the road is 13.50. Now, naturally, he hasn't pitched much on the road, but still, it's not very good. And the Astros, they're just not that good. They might have been good last year, got to the World Series. They won a World Championship with a little help. But this year's team, it's all gone wrong for them right from the start. Justin Verlander tried to make everybody believe he was going to be back. No, he's not. Now he's going to be out for next year as well. And I think I'm not a karma guy, but if anybody's got some bad karma coming, it's the Astros. I would love to see them miss the playoffs. I don't think that'll happen. I think they'll sneak in, but I think they're going out in a hurry. And I don't want them here. This team, I think there's no chemistry on this team, and I think that explains a lot of the problems that they've had.
I would love that just as much as I think you would, and you could probably tell that, Dave, by the amount of cheesy jokes I've made about them all season long. Mid-major Matt was
they've been well deserved.
And Matt was saying last week on the show, he's waiting for the trash cans to come out to play this year. He's wondering where those buzzers are.
They could use them, huh?
This price right here, though, that's what I find the most interesting because, Dave, like you talked about, I agree with you. I think the Mariners are one of those teams that actually is motivated and not just packing it in. Are you willing to lay this number, Brian, with the Astros in this spot?
The Mariners are only 3.5 games behind Houston for that playoff spot. They got a chance right now with this series being played at home that they've got a chance to make the playoffs. So it wouldn't surprise me if Seattle's the team that's more excited to play this series than Houston is. Houston at 27-26 right now, locked in to that second place in this division. But Houston's not playing good ball. The interesting thing, and I'm not going to elaborate too much on this game because this is my free play and I've got the write-up on the site. But Houston is 24-2 against Seattle the last 2 years.
Yeah.
But they're also, as Dave pointed out, they're good on the road. They're 7-18 on the road. So I'll just leave it at that. I've got some what I think is a pretty nice write-up, though abbreviated on this free game here on the site at wt.buzz/BL for Brian Leonard.
I wanted to just mention something really quick. Chase, I don't want anyone to think whenever I bring a comment out that I'm picking on anybody because, I understand you could especially add a +1.5. You think it's going to be a close game. I personally don't like +1.5s in either baseball or hockey moneyline sports because I don't like turning an underdog into a favorite. I think if you like a team at an underdog position, don't play them to lose by 1, play them to win the game is kind of what I would look at. So Chase, I would say if you like that +1.5, maybe take a half unit on the money line as well. You're just going to get better value and you're turning a plus into a minus. Dave, start us off here with the Rockies and the Giants.
Excuse me. If you're just looking at the scheduling, this is the spot today because the Rockies wrapped up their home schedule yesterday. They have to play 8 games on the road this week here in San Francisco and there in San Francisco. I'm not in San Francisco. And then down in Phoenix. And, technically they're still alive, but if they're 3.5 games out of the wild card and they've got like 5 teams to jump over, so their season's over. The Giants had a rough weekend going, but salvaged the finale at Oakland. And they play the rest of their games at home. Now they've got this series and then the Padres series. So, if you're on the Giants roster, and Gabe Kapler, the manager, they've got to look at this and say, we better win these games because San Diego's not going to be easy. And so, to me, the Giants' playoff hopes ride on this series against Colorado. And they've got a lot more reason to be excited about it. Marquez rates an edge over Cueto, but I think you go away from the pitchers here and look at the team situation. And to me, that favors the Giants, and you're not having to pay much of a price for it. I go with the team importance here, and at $1.15, the Giants certainly look playable to me.
Hunter, first pitch 9:45 Eastern time. I'm sure this game will have some eyes, and we'll certainly be getting some bets. Where are you going here?
I just can't back Cueto in any bets at all, and I personally have a vendetta against Kapler. So if you like the Giants, like Dave said, they're playing all their games at home, and it's really hard for the Rockies to get in right now. But they're kind of in the same situation. If Rockies don't win today, they're pretty much going to fold, and if the Giants don't win today, then they better win tomorrow. And if they lose tomorrow, then they're going to fold. So this is a huge game for both sides today, and I think it's going to be a good one to watch. I do like Marquez more than I do Cueto. So if I'm on a side, it's got to be the Rockies.
Just as a debate point, that's why it's priced the way it is. Because from a team standpoint, the Giants should be about $1.50 here. And they adjusted too much for the pitchers. And by the way, if it gets to the bullpens, then the Giants have a substantial edge. But
Agree.
One of us will get it right.
Side or total, Brian?
Yeah, I'm leaning with the home team here in Cueto. Interesting to know because of injuries. Johnny Cueto has pitched 52 2/3 of an inning this year. Once he takes the mound, he will have his most innings pitched the last 3 years.
Yeah.
Because of all the injuries he's had. I watched Cueto pitch, and the guy is still a quality starting pitcher. He's a lot smarter than a lot of the young guys. He does a lot of fast pitching. We've seen this with veterans over the years. Cueto's obviously not the same pitcher he was. He was a major strikeout pitcher when he was younger, but he's just a smart pitcher. And you're going against a Colorado team who has not hit well all season long. Traditionally, they're not very good on the road. If there's a team looking to pack it in on the season, Colorado's one of those teams. If you ask me, coming into the season, there's a lot of people that thought that Colorado would be a breakout team this year. They just haven't done it. Marquez, yes, his last 3 starts have been good, 61, 61, 52. But San Francisco, to me, is a better team playing at home, and the line is cheap. As Dave pointed out, I think they graded Marquez a little bit too high. And when you look at the ERAs for these teams, now granted, Marquez pitches in Colorado, they're very similar. And so I have a slight lean here with the Giants. I think they may be worthy of a bet.
Dave, before you put a bow on this show here and wrap things up, I'm still seeing undecided and no line here for the Yankees Jays. Did you want to just talk about this matchup for a second?
No. I don't know who's pitching.
Ryan Hunter?
Nope, no starting pitching. No.
Yeah, without knowing the starters of the deal.
That is why I skipped over the game. For the guy that commented, there you go. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. I hope you have a great Monday. Best luck with your wagers across the board, whether it's NFL, MLB, NHL, whatever sport it might be. I hope the ball, puck, or whatever it is bounces in your direction. It is $9 Monday. Head over to bothsportsmemo.com and wagertalk.com. We'll see you tomorrow right here, Wager Talk TV, 2 p.m. Eastern Time for First Pitch.